New levels of deception. True profit for 2020. Believe in the positive. Good afternoon. This is the 9:45 o'clock news with me, Yeltrah Nehpets. No fear. Let's just read those headlines again quickly. New levels of deception. We're going to talk about that. True profit for 2020. Yes, we're going to talk about that briefly. Believe in the positive. Let's actually start with this. I think we all need a bit of this. Now, look at this great picture here. Fear does not stop death. It stops life. And worrying does not take away tomorrow's troubles. It takes away today's peace. Such a truer thing I've never heard said. I don't know who wrote it, but my friend shared it on Facebook, and I think it's fabulous. I love that. I would have really liked to have written that. It's brilliant. Fear does not stop death, because often fear arises out of, something's wrong, I'm going to die. Fear stops life. It stops you living. And worrying doesn't take away tomorrow's troubles. It never solves anything. It takes away today's peace. That's put so brilliantly indeed. So let's keep that in mind about staying positive. Okay? And I got some advice yesterday from an old friend who popped up, but it was extremely critical.
I said, I'm starting to think about you.
Started off critically, and it bothered me, I mean, maybe it did sharpen me up a bit, maybe it done me some good in that sense, but in a sense it almost, because I was on a flow with these videos, I liked the format, I was confident about it, I wasn't worrying about it, and that in a sense kind of did made me worry. And then I saw this piece of advice, which I thought was really good. I'll let you have a watch.
I said, I'm starting to think about YouTube, but I'm just not too sure about it. And so me and him literally just chatted for the full 3 hours down to London. And it was a great chat. And there was one bit of advice that Brian gave us that to date, as I sit here now, has been the best bit of advice that I've received on YouTube. And that is, because I was thinking that, there was some secret, there was some calculation, there was some little bit of magic that you could do. Because you do your research and you read about all these theories and conspiracy theories and Area 51 techniques for YouTube. And Brian basically said, look, if you don't get your camera out and start recording, all the rest is useless. And you know what? That was such a nudge for me. Because it's true. There's no shortcut here. There is absolutely no shortcut to being a YouTube sensation if that's what you want to be, or get more views on your channel. But the fundamental thing is you must produce content, because if you're not producing the content, then everything else is a waste of time. And I've
absolutely right. So, that's what I'm doing. I'm producing content. Because I have noticed that every time I upload a new video or do a new live even, it seems to affect it. Other videos do get watched. It brings someone to the channel, I guess. Maybe they only watch it for 5 seconds, but it does have that effect, making new videos. And this actually leads me into this new levels of deception. And in a sense, we've got to be careful. You've got to be careful listening to me, listening to anyone. But I think the ones that you have to be most careful about listening to are the ones who just blubber, blubber, blubber on, right? They are good storytellers. I used to listen to David Vose a lot, and he'd just go on and talk, But sometimes I liked what he was talking about, sometimes I didn't. And I've also noticed, with some of these people, they'll be wrong, but they won't, they'll just move on. And maybe you could accuse me of doing that as well, but I think usually I come back and I check things, and I like to make sure that every video I do, there is a message there. There is something concrete in most of them that you can take away, that you can know that this is where I stand, in a sense. So I think some of these, and I'll show you now. So this is the one that I was showing you yesterday, not yesterday, day before, George Webb, right? So I thought I'll check this guy out, and my God, he has got a lot of videos. He's got three years worth, and they started out mostly short videos, and it's only in the last 6 months or so that he's really started making longer videos. And there's this one here, coronavirus timeline, what really happened. There's the one I watched all of, coronavirus, bioweapon or an accident of nature. And here's one I started. And one of the ones I watched, he just switches, like,
NIAID, and of course,
he's
Robert
cut the
Redfield.
audio. Right, so he's done some editing afterwards. So that there is no time to take a gap and to think at all about what he's saying. And I think this is something that a lot of YouTubers have done, and I myself have increased the pace at which I speak. Because when I started, it was very slow, probably way too slow. But the other day I listened to a YouTuber who was slow talking, gaps in between what he was saying, because he's considering what he's saying. And it also gives the person, the viewer, the time to consider what's being said. And this guy here,
CDC right now, they're the two people that you see up in front with Dr. Burke.
And he'll start, and he's a good storyteller, because he does analogies, he'll take you on little turns and that. And in a sense, that's what I think is the most dangerous. I actually think, I wrote it down here, George Webb will mangle your brain, as evidenced by Cliff High. Now, Cliff High was the one who sent this guy to me, right? You can see with the shades, it's just so dangerous to be sort of watching. You just sort of and I did look into hypnotism before, so I'm going to be guilty of doing what I'm accusing others of doing now, going into tangents. I just want to say quickly about hypnotism. Don't worry about it. You can only be hypnotized if you want to be hypnotized. But maybe if you're getting a bit addicted to just watching babble on YouTube and just hearing the words and stuff, you're potentially in danger of having a mangled brain, because you just won't be able to make sense of anything, right? That's what I mean. New levels of deception. Let's have a look at Cliff High, right? I mean, he in this particular video here, he's trying to make sense of stuff. I mean, look at that scriggle. He's just scriggling. You've been listening to George Webb too much.
Favor at attacking males. Well, in a bioweapon, you would want it to
and everything just gets pointed back to this bioweapon. Which is why I wanted to make this video, and I wanted to get it done, because I want to make my stance now. Coronavirus is a natural virus. Okay? I've got something here. Coronaviruses were first discovered in the 1930s, when an acute respiratory infection or domesticated chickens was shown to be caused by infectious bronchitis virus, IBV, In the 1940s, 2 more animal coronaviruses, mouse hepatitis virus and transmissible gastroenteritis virus, were isolated. Human coronaviruses were discovered in the 1960s. The earliest ones studied were from human patients with the common cold, which were later named human coronavirus 229E and human coronavirus OC43. They were first imaged by Scottish virologist June Almeida at St Thomas Hospital in London. That's where Boris was. Other human coronaviruses have since been identified, including SARS-CoV in 2003, HCoV-NL63 in 2004, HQU1 in 2005, MERS-CoV in 2012, and SARS-CoV-2 in 2019. So the point I wanted to make there was we were due one. We were well due one. Well due one. And, they did that CAPS, Bill Gates and that did that pretend scenario where this sort of pandemic is happening, and they called it CAPS, and it was a type of coronavirus. They were expecting it. They were expecting it. So I think it's quite possibly a natural disease. And what some of the arguments, Cliff High there was talking about, the reason we can't build immunity to it is because it's got this 3-pronged approach. Well, I can tell you that every virus has multi-pronged approach. And he said it may be 4, and it is 4. It's ordinary, modified, malignant, and hemorrhagic. That's like Ebola, all your insides just... And that can happen with a virus. A virus, even like, ones like polio... Well, this was talking about smallpox, but it's true with all viruses. They can, once they've attached to the cell, they can affect you differently, right? And again, the same thing again is 85% to 95% of people will not even have any symptoms, will be asymptomatic. But they have used this coronavirus to their ends, and it's probably the Fabians or something, or whoever was against Brexit and whoever's against Trump, whatever Brexit and Trump and Boris are doing as a force in the world to change it, these kickers who were in before, right, doing all their plots and everything, this is them having their major paddy in their pram, right, and just want to cock up everything, just want to not allow anything to work, halt the economy. Have you ever heard of it? Halting the economy? They've never done this before. Never. So they haven't got their way, so it's like, we haven't got our way, everything can go to hell then. That's what's going on. So the virus was there, but they could decide to, big it up, right? And they may have, I think the Q one, let me just show you so you can see who I'm talking about. This Full Cabal channel here, QAnon, if you watch their COVID videos, they're saying something did happen in China, but it was a different one, and in the sense that the COVID-19 is just conveniently covering that up. So it could have been released, a fake virus, quite possibly, but it doesn't make it more dangerous than it would be, and it's not. Frankly, it's not that dangerous. They're just choosing to report the numbers of deaths every day, which if they did every day normally, we wouldn't be finding this very surprising. A crisis created so we can be saved. They say without the NHS there'd be a disaster. But isn't it the other way round? We had a lockdown to protect the NHS. But everybody is using this to their advantage. You hear adverts from energy companies. in this difficult time, we're keeping the energy on. We're powering the hospitals. Well, like, what do you think they're going to do? Turn off the power? You know, just to be mean? Very good, well done. You're keeping the switch on. Well done. And during this lockdown, the talk then moves on to tests, right? That's what they've been talking about for the last week. Tests. Oh, who's tested here? Who's tested there? What test works? Which test there? Someone's been reinfected. Well, maybe it's the faulty tests. You know, that's all they've really talked about. So it just takes away focus from what's going on. But they full well know on YouTube there will be who I'm going to call now conspiracy theorists, right? Because I've done a couple of videos that, you know, the Jeffrey Epstein, jump on one of those bandwagons, right? But I don't set out my channel to maximize views by just jumping on the latest fear thing and because I think we can see that these fear promoting videos get views, right? People like the bit of excitement. They like when dates have been set for the Armageddon and the Rapture, and you know, and people will just carry on making videos because they continue to get views, because there's always another, you know, mug basically round the corner who's gonna go in for what you said. I've been one of those mugs. Right, so before we move on to the next thing, I've been sent a video. Someone's wanting to show me their homeschooling day and how it's going. So we'll go over to that now. And right. Let's try and do what I was going to do then, which is have this video that's been sent to me. Some homeschooling going on out there. Hi Yeltrah. Hi. Yes, I'm doing as you asked me to do. I'm doing a video diary of my school day. My homeschool day. I didn't ask you. So I'm just waiting for my dad to start the day. He's being teacher. But he's just gone to the shop quickly. Oh. Some time is passing. Oh dear. Where's Daddy? Where is he? Oh, I think I can hear him now. Oh, good. Very late. Right. Time to start school. What do you mean I'm late? Right. Detention. 5 hours detention. Right. Since we started detention already, now you're mine. God. Right? You think you can muck about and do what you like? Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? You mean to insinuate that I should tolerate such diabolical behavior from such an insignificant little puppy like yourself? I hope he dies. Better ring him. They're probably busy. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That is unfortunate, isn't it? So then, that was that. Right. Let's have a look at this. True profit for 2020. Now I wrote this at the beginning of 2020. Psalm 120. I called to the Lord in my distress, and he answered me. O Lord, I cried, save me from lying lips, and from the tongue of slander. What has he in store for you, slanderous tongue? What more has he for you? Nothing but a warrior's sharp arrows, or red-hot charcoal. Hard is my lot, exiled in Meshech, dwelling by the tents of Kedar. All the time that I dwelt among men who hated peace. I sought peace, but whenever I spoke of it, they were for war. Well, certainly the lying bits fits with this year, doesn't it? And for anyone who doesn't know, Jehovah's Witnesses who came up with this, and they said that 1900 was like the beginning of the end, and that from 1901, if you like, it was aligned to Psalms. And there are 150 Psalms in total. So then Psalm 121 would be about 2021. See if it's good. If I lift up my eyes to the hills, where shall I find help? Help comes only from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. How could he let your foot stumble? How could he, your guardian, sleep? The guardian of Israel never slumbers, never sleeps. The Lord is your guardian, your defense at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will guard you against all evil. He will guard you body and soul. The Lord will guard your going and your coming, now and forevermore. Sounds all right, doesn't it? But we'll look at more of them and see when we're getting an idea of what's going to be happening in the future years when all this bloody nonsense is over, right? Remember, no fear, no fear. Believe in the positive. You might as well believe in the positive, mightn't you? You might as well. It makes things turn out more positive when you believe in the positive. Right, we're going to play a song. Now, I've done 2 songs because I didn't think it was that good. But we'll leave that one up, I think. Let's have a listen then.
I wanted to be with you alone and talk about the weather, but traditions I can trace against the child in your face to escape my attention. You keep your distance with a system of touch and gentle persuasion. I'm lost in admiration. Could I need you this much? Are you wasting my time? You're just wasting time. Something happens and I'm head over heels. I never find out till I'm dead. Something happens and I'm head over heels. Take my heart, don't break my heart, don't throw it away. I made a fire, I'm watching it burn. I thought of your future, with one foot in the past. Now just how long will it last? No, you have no ambition. My mother and my brothers used to breathe in clean air and dreaming I'm a doctor. It's hard to be a man when there's a gun in your hand. Oh, I feel so. Something happens and I'm head over heels. I never find out till
Okay, so that was, struggling with that one really. See, what I'm actually doing with the music here, and some people might find this a bit interesting or not. See, I don't like over practicing things, because if I've over practiced something, I lose the enjoyment in playing it. So all these songs I've been playing at the end of these videos, I've like practiced them once. Now that one did need a few more, and it was a new chord there for me. It was difficult, but anyway, and I'm going to play you another one which I didn't do. I can't compete with the woman who sung the song originally. What a voice. But so you got another one coming. But I just wanted to say that I don't like to over practice things. If I lose the enjoyment out of it, for me that spoils it, because I think, to enjoy somebody's creation, they should be enjoying it. With that said, listen to this. 25 years and my life is still trying to get up that great big hill of hope for a destination. Realized quickly when I knew I should that the world are made up of this brotherhood of man, for whatever that means. So I cry sometimes when I'm lying in bed, just to get it all out what's in my head, and I'm feeling a little peculiar. So I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath. I get real high and I scream the top of my lungs, what's going on? And I said, hey, yeah, hey, yeah. I said, hey, what's going on? Sing along to improve it. Try. Oh my God, do I try? I try all the time in this institution, and I pray. Oh my God, do I pray? I pray every single day for a revolution. So I cry sometimes when I'm lying in bed, just to get it all out what's in my head, and I'm feeling a little peculiar. So I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath, I get real high and I scream the top of my lungs, what's going on? And I said, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah. I said, hey, what's going on? And I said, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah. I said, hey, what's going on? Trying to get up that great big hill of hope for a destination. So then, there we have it. So there was some gaps in there. There was some problems with the uploading stuff, but maybe I can try and trim it out. Try and be professional, right? But at the same time, don't lose the important values of enthusiasm. Ciao.